It happens in July. Everyone around you is celebrating the endless daylight, planning beach trips, posting photos of themselves glowing in golden hour light. And you're standing there feeling something you can't quite name. Not jealousy, not sadness. Something closer to relief when you see the first yellow leaf in late August. The air grows heavy with unspoken expectation. You should be thriving right now. And something inside you quietly disagrees. You step outside into 90-degree heat, and your shoulders tense. Sound feels sharper. Colors feel aggressive. Your skin feels too exposed. But when October arrives, the air turns crisp. When the light grows softer and the world gets quieter, your body finally exhales. Your mind comes back online. And there's the part you rarely say out loud. You've been waiting for winter since spring ended. You feel more alive in the so-called dead season than you do when everything is supposedly blooming. And somewhere under all the explanations you give people, I just like cozy vibes, I run hot, I prefer sweater weather, there's a quieter question pulsing in your chest. Why am I like this? Your brain works differently. That's not a flaw. That's sophisticated calibration. You don't prefer winter because you're avoiding life or struggling with seasonal depression. You prefer winter because your nervous system is a high-resolution processor in a world designed for low-resolution comfort. While most people's brains automatically filter out 80% of environmental stimulation, yours processes closer to 95% of what's happening around you. Summer, for your system, isn't freedom. It's sensory saturation, aggressive sunlight that overstimulates your visual cortex heat, that demands constant thermal regulation, social pressure to be constantly on, and available noise, movement, and exposure that your system reads as chaos. Winter, by contrast, is a natural regulation system. Softer light, quieter environments, fewer social demands, more layers between you and the world. Your preference for winter isn't emotional avoidance. It's energetic intelligence. Your brain is constantly running a background calculation. How much bandwidth will this environment cost me? Summer tend to answer everything. Winter tend to answer. You can actually think here. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system seeking the conditions where your deep processing abilities can finally come online. Your winter preference serves different primary functions. You might recognize yourself in one of these 4 processing styles, or in pieces of all of them. The sensory architect for you, winter is about environmental control. In summer, the world intrudes constantly. Heat seeping through walls, brightness flooding through windows, sounds carrying from every direction. Your nervous system spends enormous energy just managing the sensory chaos. Winter gives you back your power as the curator of your environment. You control the lighting, the temperature, the acoustic landscape. You're not hiding. You're creating precise conditions where your brain can operate at full capacity. You're not too sensitive. You're a finely tuned instrument that requires the right environment to produce its best work. The depth seeker, you notice it in the quality of your thoughts. Summer feels like constant skimming, shallow conversations, surface-level activities. The pressure be light and breezy when your natural mode is contemplative and thorough. Winter feels like an invitation inward. You read more, think in full paragraphs, have conversations that go somewhere meaningful. When the external world contracts, your internal world expands. Your brain prefers depth over breadth, integration over stimulation. You're not melancholic. You're built for the kind of deep processing that requires stillness to emerge. The boundary keeper for you, winter provides something precious, socially acceptable solitude. Summer social expectations feel like 1,000 small invasions. The assumption that warm weather equals constant availability. The pressure to say yes to every outdoor gathering, every spontaneous plan. Winter gives you permission to create clear containers around your energy. It's too cold becomes a culturally accepted reason to stay home, to decline, to protect your bandwidth. You're not antisocial. You're selectively social, and winter respects that intelligence. The rhythm keeper, you feel it in your biological timing. While others fight against seasonal changes, you recognize something they don't. Humans aren't meant for year-round summer energy. Your nervous system still responds to ancient cues that shorter days mean turn inward, conserve energy, plan rather than perform. You're not lazy in winter. You're seasonally synchronized with rhythms older than civilization. Your body knows that not everything should grow all the time, that rest is productive, that darkness has purpose. Take a moment here. Imagine your ideal winter day. Soft gray light, the sound of your footsteps on cold pavement, wearing layers that feel like gentle armor, the quiet that comes with snow. As you picture that, notice, where does your body soften? Your jaw, your throat, your chest, your shoulders? You don't need to change anything. Just notice which part of you has been waiting for that kind of environment all year. That physical relief isn't coincidence. It's your nervous system recognizing its optimal operating conditions. Hey! The hidden costs, visual description. Living as a winter person in a summer-obsessed culture extracts a toll that lives in your body. You feel in the low-grade tension that peaks between June and August. The way you come home from fun summer activities feeling strangely depleted rather than energized. The headaches from bright light. The irritability that seems to come from nowhere, but is actually your nervous system maxed out from constant overstimulation. Your shoulders carry the weight of constant translation. Having to explain why you're not excited about the beach, why you prefer staying in, why you actually enjoy gray days. Your jaw holds the tension of biting back. Actually, I hate this when everyone else is celebrating. The exhaustion isn't from the heat. It's from a mandatory performance of enjoying what drains you. Your body keeps a score of this mismatch in small, persistent ways. Disrupted sleep from too much light, digestive issues from stress, a nervous system that never fully relaxes because it's always managing sensory overload. B. The evolutionary context detailed. Your preference for winter makes profound biological sense when you understand the ancient context your brain is still operating from. For 290,000 of humanity's 300,000 years, seasonal rhythms weren't just weather patterns. They were survival strategies. Summer meant exposure, more predator visibility, more competition for resources, more strangers moving through territory, more open sky vulnerability. It was a season of high energy output and constant vigilance. Winter, though harsher in terms of resources, provided something essential: the thinking season. When movement was limited and groups clustered together, our ancestors didn't just survive winter, they used it. They planned the next year's strategies. They created tools. They processed the year's experiences. They told the stories that became cultural knowledge. The people who thrived in winter weren't the ones who fought it. They were the ones who recognized its gifts. High sensitivity and deep processing were survival advantages in winter environments. The person who noticed subtle weather changes kept the group safe. The one who could sit still long enough to craft better tools gave the tribe an edge. The one who processed social dynamics during long indoor months prevented conflicts that could be deadly in close quarters. Your brain carries this winter intelligence, the capacity for deep focus, pattern recognition, and long-term thinking that kept humans innovative and adaptive. But modern culture has eliminated winter's purpose while keeping its weather. We've replaced seasonal rest with year-round productivity, replaced natural darkness with artificial light, replaced cyclical living with constant output demands. Your winter preference isn't a quirk. It's your nervous system trying to access a cognitive mode that served humanity for millennia. C. The childhood echo, no parent blaming. There's likely an echo here from your early years. Maybe you were the child who felt most yourself on snow days, when the usual routines dissolved and the house grew quiet, who brought books to beach vacations, who preferred the cozy containment of indoor spaces to the chaos of playgrounds. You weren't antisocial. You were already calibrated for depth in a world that celebrated surface. Your nervous system learned early that winter environments, quieter, more contained, less stimulating, allowed your natural processing style to emerge. But the adults around you, operating from cultural assumptions, might have worried about your preferences. Don't waste such a beautiful day inside. You need more sun. Go play outside with the other kids. You received a subtle message that your natural regulation style was somehow wrong. So you learned to override your own intelligence, to apologize for what actually helped you function. But your preference was never a problem to solve. It was early evidence of your sophisticated self-regulation system. if you're willing, I'd like to invite you into a brief experiment. You can stop at any time, and you don't need to do anything that doesn't feel right. If it feels okay, gently picture yourself in your ideal winter environment. Not what you think you should want, what your body actually craves. Maybe it's warm light instead of harsh overhead's the weight of a heavy sweater, the sound of your own breathing in cold air, a space that feels contained rather than exposed as you imagine this. If your nervous system wants to respond, perhaps with a deeper breath, a small exhale, a softening somewhere, you have complete permission to let it. If nothing shifts, that's perfectly fine too. You're simply gathering information about what optimal environment feels like to your system. You have permission to trust what regulates you, even if it's different from what regulates others. A central metaphor, think of yourself as a deep-root tree in a culture obsessed with summer annuals. Summer annuals bloom fast, bright, and briefly. They get all the attention, all the celebration, but they burn out quickly because they have no foundation. You are the oak tree, the pine, the species that does its most important work underground, in darkness, during the dormant season. Your root system deepens in winter. Your strength compounds. Your intelligence matures. You're not failing to bloom. You're building the foundation that makes sustainable growth possible. B. Permission cascade. You have permission to prefer the season that brings you alive. You have permission to find summer exhausting without being depressed. You have permission to decline outdoor events without elaborate explanations. You have permission to create winter-like conditions in your home year-round. You have permission to schedule your most important work for the months when your brain operates best. You have permission to come alive in November while others mourn summer's end. You have permission to need darkness, quiet, and containment to access your full intelligence. You have permission to stop apologizing for being a winter person in a world that worships summer. You have permission to trust your nervous system's sophisticated calibration. Your preference isn't a limitation, it's a specification. C. Micro-strategies with neurological Y1. Create micro-winter environments, lower the lights. Add layers. Use heavier blankets, even in warm weather, breathable fabrics work. Why it works. Deep pressure stimulation activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode. Your brain associates weight and warmth with safety, reducing cortisol and allowing your prefrontal cortex to come online for complex thinking. 2. Practice thermal contrast regulation. When you feel overstimulated, splash cold water on your face or hold ice cubes. Why it works. This triggers a mammalian dive reflex via your vagus nerve, instantly slowing your heart rate and shifting your nervous system out of hypervigilance. It mimics the regulatory effect of stepping into cold air. 3. Schedule your cognitive seasons. Plan your most important mental work for October through March. Use summer for maintenance tasks that don't require peak focus. Why it works. Your circadian rhythms and cognitive performance are linked. If your brain processes information more efficiently in low-stimulation environments, you're literally operating at higher capacity in winter months. This is an accommodation. It's optimization. The world is loud right now. It's obsessed with perpetual summer, constant growth, endless visibility, year-round productivity. It's exhausting to be a deep processor in a culture that celebrates surface, to be a winter soul in a summer-obsessed world. But you remember something the culture has forgotten. Not everything blooms in July. Some of the most important growth happens in darkness, slowly, where no one's watching. Some intelligence requires stillness to emerge. Some wisdom only comes through the long, quiet seasons of turning inward. You are not broken for preferring the gray sky to the blue one. You are not antisocial for needing solitude to think clearly. You are not depressed for coming alive when the world goes dormant. So when the air turns cold and the days grow short and everyone around you complains about the depressing weather, notice what happens in your body. That small exhale of relief, that sense of, oh, finally, that feeling of coming home to yourself. That is not evidence of pathology. You are not too sensitive. You are exquisitely calibrated. And winter is simply where your particular kind of brilliance comes into focus. The cold doesn't make you retreat. It makes you real. If this video put words to something you felt your whole life, but never knew how to explain, don't just sit with it. Signal it. Hit like, not for the algorithm alone, but so this reaches the other winter minds quietly wondering if they're broken too. And if you want more videos that don't shout, don't rush, and don't treat sensitivity like a flaw, subscribe. This channel is for people who think deeply, feel quietly, and come alive where others go numb. You don't need more noise in your feed. You need a place that understands how your nervous system actually works. Subscribe and stay where your mind can finally breathe.